it looks like these varieties are taking well to this light condition and the water needs that this place has. Anyway, nothing like sudden big projects. Okay. Okay guys, so I unexpectedly got a request, plea if you will, from a neighbor friend of mine, and I am now bringing a whole bunch of plants that I just went in shopped at Garden Center with, and picked up just what they had in stock to completely replant her yard. I am going to then show you how I place them all out, and yeah. Anyway. My method is first place the large things and then you fill in the extras around that. So you can see that I know that I want some of those large ginger plants, the variegated gingers, to go up in front of the windows. Didn't know exactly once you kind of wiggle it into place, but we figured that out as we go. We also knew that we wanted the gardenias up around the patio along the sidewalk, so when you came out or go in, if they were in bloom, you would smell them. Then, again, I would just mirror the variegated gingers over on either side in front of the windows. I kind of start spacing them out, wiggling them around just to make sure that we have them in places I like. The cordyline, which are the big purple ones, Red Sister variety cordyline, I start placing towards the front along the pathway because we want it to be an entrance kind of pow feeling. And so I grouped those, and again, odd numbers. If you notice, I have most everything you see is in odd numbers. So once you get the idea of where you want to put everything, then you have to start making the holes. I'm not giving a tutorial on how to plant necessarily at this point. It's more like design and quick throw together, so I'll have to attach that for another video. The hardest part is putting everything in the ground once you've kind of wiggled stuff into the right places. I've kind of made things flow around each other and go in between in colors and stuff. You don't want everything right next to each other that looks exactly the same. The eldest son, he is putting in the plant tone that has some mycorrhizal fungus in it that actually attaches to the root system and allows things to have a better opportunity of getting nutrients brought up to them and water brought up to them that they wouldn't otherwise have had available without that fungus cohabitating. Right here, though, I'm having my friend and her 4 kids all wanted to jump in and help out, and I think that's great. That was awesome. I totally wanted all of them to be there. So you've got all of them pitching in, making little holes so we can get this done in a day since we started so late in the evening. And we're racing against time with the sunset coming. So we just work our way through all of this stuff after I've already placed everything around. Once you have everything on the ground and placed where you kind of have seen what it's going to look like all together, it's very easy to go back and just plant where those pots are and adding the nutrients. It just takes time. It's the more frustrating and tiring part, but it's definitely not as consuming on your mind. So if you have somebody sort of a brains of a project versus somebody's the brawn, this is where you divide it up. I'm sorry I can't show you the other side of the house. We actually lost light. We just put in the oleanders where I had placed them, and I will be walking you through with this video. And just wanted to bring you guys back out the day after we really watered everything in, and check on the progress of everything and give you a good good feel for what it looks like in the daylight, considering we you know,
didn't have a lot of light the other day. So these were the airplane plants that we did. I did red sister cordyline, and I did some variegated ginger that will look really nice, and purple heart. I think it's transcendennia, I think is how you say it. I don't know, can't remember exactly. Bicolor iris, which will have the little tiny like pale yellow flowers on lawn stalks, and all of these things could be aggressive in normal landscaping, but in a landscape where they don't want to do any upkeep really, or worried about like water problems like drought or anything like that, these are perfect choices for our Houston climate, especially since she has this weird mix of shade and sun. As you can see, like sometimes a day it will get this brutal sun, and sometimes it's just completely shaded by these huge live oaks that she has in her front yard, and crepe myrtles and assorted, you know, older neighborhood, 20+ year. We went ahead and put in these Caitlin's Giant ajuga, and they will have a purple flower. You can kind of see some of their long racemes, or whatever you call them, for the flower stalks kind of. I had to water that one in really good the other day because it came really dry, but otherwise we've mulched pretty thick and these should be fine. These are evergreen in Houston area, so these are fantastic option for something that needs either shade or sun, kind of like a boxwood. They'll take either one, and they will be drought tolerant and just fantastic. I love ajugas. Ajugas are crazy awesome. These are not maybe as colorful as some ajugas are, but they'll be really hardy, and they were also something I could find in a day, which again, it was kind of one of our challenges with this particular project. So again, I went ahead and repeated the cordyline, red sister, the airplane plants, and the bicolor iris over on this side, and the ginger. So you see the variegated gingers are super water stressed right now. So I do not think they were getting nearly as much. I'll probably come in and put some more mulch on it. And the purple heart in the front again there. I'm gonna have to keep watching those variegated gingers, but honestly, they really will kind of cover their dead, if you will. They'll outgrow the leaf damage that they've gotten, that you can kind of see on this. Ooh, look, beautiful swallowtail. If you saw that yellow and black butterfly coming on through. There he is again. Anyway, so, and then further down, we have some foxtail ferns, also really hardy. We'll get bigger options for our area. These are fantastic for Houston. This spirea did get pretty dry. You can kind of see it's gotten crispy in places. That is not good. I came down and we deep soak watered it, so I'm gonna have to just keep doing that in this really bad Houston heat. This one will recover. It's also one of those that's an evergreen in our winters. Won't freeze. In fact, its bloom cycle is in the winter. And it'll get this beautiful, this one is a white, get this beautiful, complete white kind of burst of flowers in the late winter, early spring, that sort of thing when it's cold. It's a fantastic one. So I'm hoping that will even out. And then over here, we did the oleanders. She has this magnificent, huge old magnolia here. And so this is kind of a challenge because you've got this really sunny section up against her windows that she actually needs some shade for. And additionally, some of this area does get shaded a lot by this this magnolia. So it's kind of two problems. And again, the watering, I'm going to have to keep an eye on because they dried out quite a bit. And you can see that they recovered after the deep watering we did yesterday. If you happen to remember this one had gotten so dry. I mean, very welty, kind of looks like that one. And so I am going to come back and kind of deep water some of these for the next few days, week, 2 weeks, something like that, just because it's the worst summer we've had on record for a while. And they just updated their sprinkler system too that hadn't been kind of looked at for about 5 years. And so they had a whole bunch of broken heads and pipes and stuff, and it just wasn't watering anything. I think I will go ahead and come in through and replace some of these sprinkler heads that you see right there and put some of the drip tubing off of it to each one of the plants. And then we won't even have to come out and hand water these things. We can just let the sprinkler system do it and have the drip tubing going straight to each plant, and that will be easy. We'll get onto that. These airplane plants didn't survive very well in the front as well with the heat without watching them in those first couple of days. So we'll see if some of them come back from their roots and rhizomes, which I think they will. You can see some of the stumpy things here. These are actually knockout roses that just didn't make it when the sprinkler system had been broken before we put anything in here. And I left them because I don't want to take anything out and have her spend more money that she doesn't need to spend, and see if they come back, see what we can do. If she wants to, we can move them to another spot, but they weren't dead. We just cut them back as if it was, you know, late winter or something, so that maybe they could come back. So some of these airplane plants suffered pretty badly. You see there was probably 4 to 5 in here. I can't remember exactly. I see 3 that are still living. And then our kind of silver euonymus, that's right there. That one also got pretty heat and water stressed, so I will be keeping an eye on. We did not put anything in here, budget restraining. We just did not want to keep putting more, you know, plants in. We start with some stuff, see how it survives, and then, you know, go from there. So anyway, so again, really nice big magnolia. These oleanders are the ones that I'm most concerned about, and there's one that still got put over just a little wrong, so you can kind of see this one right here. And I'm gonna try to move it closer towards the windows. And I really think that I need to go out and buy either more Purple Heart for this segment instead of airplane plants, which I just sort of donated from my own backyard stuff I had on hand, you know, a bit of a plant collector. Anyway, and so I think that this, where you see the oleander stops in front of this window, I want to put another short one right here in front of the brick, and then another short one right here in front of the window. And, you know, hopefully that will be, you know, it'll look better. This spirea I can move around a little bit, but it's more of an accent. But I think I want to finish the curve of those oleanders, and I think it's getting hot enough and bright enough for that oleander to really fill in. And they're hot pink and red oleanders. I think this is going to turn out really well. But I wanted to walk you guys through this area with the light out, considering several times it was dark by the time we got done with all these projects. So anyway, which is the best in this Houston heat, considering it's like melting, you know, everything, including me. So it's a work in progress, but I will probably come out, add a little mulch in different places. But this was a one-day project. Turned around what we could find in store for the right price and get into the ground starting one day at about 3 o'clock-ish and finished about midnight, and that was including trimming and mulching the backyard. So not the best conditions to get into, but you know, we did what we could. So, and I think I did not talk about on either side of the walkway, she wanted something that would smell good and possibly bloom. And considering this looks kind of, you know, gets a lot more shaded and dappled shade and stuff like this, we have 2 gardenias that I did. So gardenia there, gardenia there. They do have some buds on them. I don't know when that will happen, especially since they got very water stressed right at the beginning of their transfer or transplant. So I will let you know how those turn out. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Again, mulch and water, the biggest things right now in our Houston heat, especially this unreasonable Houston heat that we're having this summer 2022 that we've got. Okay, thanks guys, bye. So the progress of it after a month and a half is doing pretty good. It looks like things are settling in and not so water hungry, and we'll get some closer up looks now. All right, so it looks like I do have a little bit of weed control to come in and do. That gardenia looks not good at all. Not sure what's going on. I'm gonna have to check it out. But everything else looks like it's laying in well. I think I might have to come back and do a little bit more mulch. We'll figure that out. But otherwise, it looks like these varieties are taking well to this light condition
and the water needs that this place has. And there's that rose coming back that she had originally. Remember, I cut some of them back and left them if they were still alive, just because, you know, don't want to have to spend more money for her. And there's that spirea that's kind of in front of the oleander. We'll see. I might end up moving that more. And these other oleanders, all of them kind of came back from the stress they had. It looks like some of those airplane plants even came back. And then this euonymus is doing pretty darn good. It does get much bigger, and so it'll just be like this fluffy, silvery, powdered looking plant. And so we'll keep working on these things. Those oleanders are gonna do great. You see there's one branch that looks like it got broken in the very back there that I need to go and just trim. Otherwise, doing fantastic. I might even add one more foxtail right here because it doesn't look even to me. And these gingers are already doing a great job of burying their dead. Meaning, you know, the damage that they got from the transplant shock and underwatering at the very, very beginning is already kind of taken back over. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go check out that gardenia that's right there and see what happened to it. But the other gardenia is doing just fine.